calls came in, our emotions were on an extreme high. We're gonna get a liver. We'd arrive at the hospital, be fully prepared for surgery. And then they would come in and say, Chuck, I'm sorry, this liver's not gonna work for you. You can go home. Sometimes I was 30 minutes from home. Sometimes I was 30 minutes from Ann Arbor. Twice I was on the table. And they came in and said, this liver is not gonna work for you, you can go home. That roller coaster of emotions happened 10 times. You can go from the top of the emotional mountain to the pit of despair in a moment. But on the 11th day of the 11th month, surgery started at 11 p.m. for the 11th liver. There's a health equation that must bring you closer to death in order to receive more offers for a liver. It's a scoring system that measures the severity of your liver failure. The acronym they use is MELD, M-E-L-D. It stands for Measurement of End-Stage Liver Disease. The scale runs from 6 to 40. I went on the list with a score of 18 in February of 22. In October, my score was 25, and the liver offers became more frequent. When I went into the operating room on November 11th, my score was 32. If your score gets into the 35 to 40 range, you most likely will not be getting any liver offers because you are likely not going to survive the surgery anyway. They won't give you a liver if you're going to die anyway. No sense in burying a good liver. There's too many people on the waiting list waiting for that liver, so they want to make sure that it's going to be a go. When my surgeon spoke to Denise after the surgery, he said that I was living on borrowed time and that he estimated about 2 more weeks before I would not have been able to receive a liver. People in that range usually die anyway, but I knew I was on God's time. Surgery lasted about 5.5 hours. And Mark, could you give me number 1 there? During surgery, I had acute kidney trauma, which required dialysis. Interesting that before surgery, there was never any mention of kidney problems. So I kind of think while I was out, maybe he dropped a scalpel or something. Anyway, I was in intensive care for 9 days, and I went into a regular hospital room on my birthday, November 20th. And Mark, how about picture number 2? Actually, this is a video.
Good job.
Oh my gosh, he did it.
Good job.
Chuck, that's awesome.
Awesome. Good job. No,
You're
we're not walking.
You're not walking, you're just standing.
Just standing. How do you feel?
Very faint? Okay.
I was in the hospital for a total of 40 days. During that time, or during the time of my liver failure and surgery, I went from 238 pounds to 166 pounds. That's a total of 72-pound weight loss. And Mark, could you give me number 3 now?
I just read the messages and listened to the video. I'm in my car. Thank you so much. I'll be sure to show Chuck tomorrow. I'm heading back to the hotel now, and I'm gonna try to be in by 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And he's doing better. He's doing better today. I'll make a Care Bridge entry when I get settled in my hotel. But Thank you so much. I love you guys. I miss you. I love you. Okay, good night.
That was my wife, giving a thank you to her ladies' care group. It's a group called Hope for Healing. And that was 5 days after my surgery, and she was thanking them for their encouragement. Half of the 40 days, half of the 40 days were devoted to rehab. And Mark, how about number 4, please?
Girl. Good job. There you go.
Oh, that's amazing. Look up.
There you go.
It's all about the rhythm. Beautiful, honey. You're staying right in.
Does it go any longer? Oh, okay. All right, I had to learn how to swallow. I had to learn how to walk. I had to gain enough strength to get out of bed and use a walker, and a wheelchair before I could go home. There was another line right after that I was hoping to get to. But my wife said something about, look at that beautiful woman in the video. And the woman at the end of the video was my daughter, who is an RN, and she was helping out that day. She doesn't work there, but she was there and helping out. So if you know my wife Denise, you know that she would not be telling me to look at a beautiful woman. And I had to explain to you that that was my daughter. It was okay. Okay, we finally arrived home on December 22nd of 2022, and life was difficult. I could not stand up or sit down without help. We rearranged the furniture to create a path for my wheelchair. I had in-home nursing and in-home physical therapy for 30 days. Then I had outpatient therapy for 6 weeks. There were appointments to Ann Arbor weekly with the liver specialist and the surgeon, and then they were eventually changed to bi-weekly, and then monthly, and then every 6 months. The experience taught us to never take even the simplest things for granted. I never thought that I might not come out of this. Our friends testified to Denise that they could see a look of death in my appearance. But honestly, we were unaware. During this time, our church was involved in a 40 days of prayer project where we would gather via telephone at 7:30 in the morning and pray together. The prayers that we shared with one another every morning strengthened our hearts and our faith that God would sustain us. One passage that we focused on was Philippians 4, 6, and 7, where it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. I've been a believer all my life. I was fortunate enough to have been raised in a Christian home. But the experience literally gave me a renewed outlook. Not a day goes by that I don't want to be communicating with God and walking in His will. And Mark, that is picture number 5. And if you want to go with picture number 6, I can explain them both. Side by side, actually those pictures are one right after the other. They were both taken on September 26th. The first one was in the year 2022, and the second one, this one, was 2023, September 26th. Same day, a year apart. And that day was the same day, a sad day for some family. Because somebody had to die. But for my family, it was a happy day. The epilogue is another human being died and their liver resurrected my physical body back to life. Jesus sacrificed himself through death on the cross to rescue my soul and body when he comes back again. And he will do the same for you if you only ask. So, any questions? I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any. Okay?
Do you get any information on the person?
You cannot get that information. There is one way. It has to be mutually, the university won't do it. But if I write a letter to Gift of Life, it's very restricted. You can't talk about religion, you can't talk about God, you can't talk about the hospital that it happened at, you can't talk about anything, but you can write a letter. And the donor family has to write a letter also, that they'd like to meet. And so, yes, there are stories out there where people have gotten together to meet. But other than that, the university